Hey guys, this is Shikha, and in today's episode, we're going to be discussing loans, which is a very significant part of your DDS journey. So, we're going to be focusing more on private loans and not so much on federal loans. Federal loans are for those who are green card holders, citizens, and visa holders, on the other hand, are not eligible for it. What we are eligible for is private loans. So there are a lot of companies here in the US that provide private loans. These include Discover Student Loans, Wells Fargo, Sallie Mae, Prodigy, Empower Financing, and some more which are lesser known. So first of all, some schools have like a list of companies from which you are eligible, from which they allow you to take private loans from. Like UCLA had like only a small list, like only Sallie Mae, Wells Fargo, Discover, whereas some schools on the other hand are okay with whichever company you want to go to, and so you choose the one that gives you the best interest rate. That's usually how you choose your loans, the best interest rate and the best customer service. So keep those two things in mind whenever you apply for a loan. The other very important thing that decides which company you're going to choose is going to be whether you need or don't need a co-signer. So a co-signer is somebody who is in the US, a friend or a relative who is a green card holder or a citizen, and who can co-sign or basically vouch for you, and on whose credit history you will be taking that loan. So usually it has to be somebody you trust, somebody who can trust you, and who's willing to do that for you, because this whole loan period is a very long period. So you need to have a relationship with somebody for that long to be on to have them as your co-signer. So there are loan companies like Prodigy, for example, that don't require a co-signer. In this case, they just basically set up an interest rate based on your future earning potential. Sometimes you can also show them your assets, and then they calculate an interest rate for you. There are different types of interest rates. There's fixed and variable. Each one of these companies will give you the option to choose from either, and that pretty much is like you have to kind of make a guess there, or get financial advice about whether choosing a variable loan or a fixed loan, a fixed interest rate is the best choice for you. Prodigy and those that don't require a co-signer has a higher interest rate, of course, whereas those with a co-signer, it kind of depends on the co-signer's credit history, and usually interest rates in all of these vary between like 5 to 9%. So again, like all of it depends on your co-signer's credit history or the lack of a co-signer. So, well, that is pretty much how you do. The whole process of taking the loan is very simple. It happens over the phone, it happens online, or it happens in person, of course. The one that I took happened on the phone, and they pretty much do everything. They ask you a couple of questions, they fill up an application form on your behalf, you give them all your information, you give them your co-signer's contact, then they will call the co-signer, they'll finish the application with their information, and verify information, and once they do all that, they immediately run a credit check as well, and they also immediately find out your eligibility. So once that is done, what the loan company does is it sends an inquiry to the school that you got admitted to, and the school has to certify that yes, you are a student there, this is as much as this is all the money that you need, the breakdown of how much is the tuition, how much is going to be the living expense, all of that. And usually the finance department in your school will do this. That's their job pretty much. So you don't have to do anything after the phone call. Everything else is taken care of by the loan company and your school. However, since we spent almost about $220,000 to $270,000, $100,000 in those 2 years, you don't get the whole amount in one go. They're usually distributed to you over the year, more like per month or per quarter or semi-yearly, and and then again, that is something that is decided by the school and the loan company that you are getting a loan from. In some schools, you have to apply to multiple loans for the summer and the rest of the year. Like in my case at UCLA, we had to apply for one loan in the summer, and then the rest of the year was another one, and then you have another for the next summer, and then again the rest of the year. So I had a total of 4 separate loans. So you had the option of choosing 2 different companies for all of these separate loans if you were getting a better rate of interest. So I think that's pretty much all you have to keep in mind about your loan process. The reason we made this video is because a lot of students, a lot of potential candidates have been concerned about not having a co-signer, or not knowing how to take a loan in the US, or having co-signers whose credit history they don't really know a lot about. So these are good questions to ask your co-signer. Are they willing to? The loan repayment period is about 20 to 30 years. So, more realistically, 15 to 20 years. So, those are questions you need to ask your co-signer. Do they have that much faith in you for that long a period? It may, of course, you will probably pay your loans earlier than that, but just worst case scenario. You also need to check how their credit history is. You need to explain to them why you need it, how it works, how professional it is between the loan company and the school, and you have to convince them that the loan company you're choosing is very reliable. So you need to make sure there's good customer service, that they have good reviews, and your school accepts that loan company. So all of that. And for those who don't have a co-signer, you can look more into Prodigy. You can also look into Empower Financing. I believe they do have certain amount that they do allow you to take without a co-signer. But of course, like I said, the interest rates are higher, and that's what we have to deal with if we don't have a co-signer. So these are just the names I threw out for you to look into. So if you have any further questions specifically about Discover or Prodigy, reach out to us, because we've been through those loan companies and we know how they work. Any other company, we usually pretty much will work the same way. We'll be happy to answer questions if we can, or we can guide you to the right person who might be able to take your questions. If you have any other loan related questions, any other doubts, feel free to reach out to us. I believe YouTube may not allow you messages after a while, but reach out to us on Instagram, on Facebook, and we will be able to answer all your questions. I hope everything is going well with applications, and I will see you in our next video.